What's up, guys? Matt Mrozik, and this is going to be the last video on the triple Hellboy build. Got them all done the other night and they look freaking amazing. I'm not gonna make this too long. Basically they're all pretty much the same except for the bases and the extra trinkets I added. I'm real happy with the way the skin looks on these guys. A nice deep red, lots of different levels of shading to get that effect. Got these all on a turntable so you can kind of turn them and look at them. I'll go over the different trinkets and stuff on all of them here in a second, but I couldn't be happier with these, and all the guys that these are going to seem really excited about them. So real happy with the skin tones, all the metal work that's been done. These took me, I did 3 at one time. I did a little work in December and then I started right after the Hulk. So basically 4 weeks, 5 weeks maybe to get these all done, which is on average what it takes me to do one, about 2 weeks. So I saved a little bit of time doing all 3, but man, it was a lot of work. It was a huge undertaking doing 3 of these at one time. I don't recommend it. Really excited. Love the shiny horns against the skin. And here the skin's looking a little shiny. It's not that shiny. And my shading's getting washed out a little bit. But a couple of things that we did different. I already did this different this time. Over the one I did in August is on the Fists of Doom. I went and painted all the little rivets and metal details. The gun is the same as the first one, so is the knife. The trinkets on Leo's we did with chain and beads instead of leather. You asked for chains and beads. And then we added this 2 little medicine bottles like we did before. And also, you know, you do something once, you learn from your mistakes. So I did the magnets a little different on these guys. I did, if you follow the build video, I put and this was a recommendation from a friend of mine. There's a steel rod, and in here there's magnets with a pipe going through it, and it's a real nice, secure way to get these on there. And then these only fit each particular kit because the way they're pinned and everything. I couldn't swap them out. On this one, this is for Windshire. Kind of what I did differently on his are the trinkets again. I did those with leather. Again, I did some beading. All of the knots on these are nooses. So all the knots that are tied with the leather are tied with noose knots, kind of as a sick joke because Hellboy's kind of superstitious with religion and stuff. So we use nooses to tie everything on. I did 3 bottles on the back here. Again, all tied with nooses. Looking really nice. Another place these all... the gun hands are all different. So we did those a little different on all of them. Make these a little closer so you can see. So on Leo's we did a gold barrel with red inlays on the barrel, on the glove, and on the butt of the gun. Windshire's I did a copper barrel with kind of like brass accents and copper accents all over. And then on Demetrios's we did a silver barrel with gold and copper accents, carrying that silver over to the glove and the hand and the butt of the gun. All the skin is pretty much exactly the same. This one may be a tad darker, Leo's may be a tad darker, but for the most part they're exactly the same, and I couldn't be happier with the skin. The shiny horns is a great contrast with the skin. I'm not going to switch out to the cutoff horns. I have them. I'm not going to switch out the other gloves. They're here, but they're pretty simple. Like on Leo's I just did, or on Demetrios, sorry, I did just a red leather inlay with silver accents. On Leo's I did the same thing but with gold accents. And then on Windshire's hand I did black with the copper accents and a gray inlay. So real simple on those, nothing too crazy. The boots on all these were done pretty much the same techniques, just slightly different colors. So on Leo's I stuck with silver, mostly silver and like burnt iron, and did copper accents on the heels with gray leather inlays on the boots and on the pants. Windshire's, I want to add a little more contrast to them. I did kind of a brown leather inlay here and on the pants there. And we stuck with kind of like a rubbed bronze gold look over here. And then on Demetrios's we did, I went a little heavier with the silver. And I also painted all the little rivets on the buckles and on the straps here. Sorry, I'm a little winded. I've been trying to clean up and get set up. So I did a little more, I went a little heavier on the colors on this one just to make it a little slightly different. And if you watch the videos, you see it's just a lot of dry brushing and kind of that buffing process I do with the Vallejo metal colors. Cool thing on the bottles here. So on Leo's, nice little side effect is when I glue the corks in, when CA or super glue dries, it gives off fumes, and it actually kind of fogged the inside of this one on these, and so that looks nice and worn. On Dimitrios's, I filled one with basically talc powder. It could be some sort of medicine or potion, you know, some sort of powder. And this one I just filled with 15-minute or 5-minute epoxy, so it looks like some sort of potion in there. On Windshire, all the knots are nooses for the bottles. I'm not sure if I mentioned that already. All the bottles are tied off with nooses. The crucifix is tied off with a noose using leather. Same thing with the horseshoe. That's all tied off with nooses. For Leo's, everything's attached with chains. I actually had to hand make all the links for this chain right here in particular because of just the way the beads were in the chain I had. So the trinkets actually took me a really long time. The longest was on Dimitrios's because he wanted more stuff. But like to do Leo's trinkets, it took me, you know, there's not much on there, but between the bottles and having to make a chain in this, you know, it's 2 hours. You know, maybe a little longer than this one, 2.5 hours because of all the noose. They're you know, to get the right length and to get them tied correctly, 2.5, 3 hours to do Windshire's trinkets, and then Dimitrios's is a good 5 hours. We have a lot of stuff going on here with Dimitrios's, and I also I'll show this off here in a second. I'll get closer. Everything's attached with magnetic clips. I'll show you that here in a second. Let me get these back on. But Dimitrios's wanted like just more stuff on his belt, so kind of went a little crazy there. And then I'll come in closer and show you the eyes here in a second too. I'll come off tripod and get in close on the eyes because they're really cool looking. I don't know what else to say. And the bases are all slightly different. Leo's and Windshire's are similar, but they're different. So I did like a bright red inlay for the base in the middle here. These are all dusty from being sitting houses I worked on with the gold trim. I went like with the rust red on this one with the copper trim. And then for Dimitrios's, I did like a candy red, metallic red, and then a gold trim. And I did like a rubbed copper on this gear part. And he also requested that I carve in stone detail to kind of match the base on this flat part, which makes a huge difference. Because initially I'd put that gold the Hellboy label on Leo's. And it looks like Hellboy. I don't know why Narin uses that font, but it looks terrible. And I didn't really think of it until after I put it on. So I had to take it off, blend the paint. So I'm going to come in. Hopefully I don't bump my recording and have to edit this together, but let's come in a little closer. Like that. And let's see if I can talk a little more about these individually. So sorry if I sound winded. I've just been busy. All right, my tripod's kind of backwards right now, so it's gonna be interesting. All right, so let's see. I talked about the trinkets. I talked about the bases. Let's see. Sorry, my dog is just whining and my kids aren't listening to me, so I'm going to stop and record more. This is very frustrating. So the bases. Let's see. I already talked about how those are kind of see how it's kind of like a rub. Basically, I take those metal colors and I rub it on and I polish it out. And it looks really kind of gives this neat effect. So again, like on Leo's over here, we did a little more with the trim on the knife. A couple colors there. That's what I did on this first one. I requested it again, so that looks really cool. Real happy with that. So that's magnetized. This is magnetized. That's it. This is all glued on. All his trinkets are glued on. Maybe we're to Windshire's. Same thing. All his trinkets are glued on. You know, these guns look amazing. The shading, the leather effect. It's just really, really, it looks awesome. I mean, I love that technique. Let me adjust my exposure here. That's more accurate there. And then I'm going to talk about Dimitrios's a little bit longer just because the trinkets are really cool. And I spent a lot of time working on those. So, let me get my lighting here. Sorry, I'm gonna adjust my exposure. And actually, I think I'm gonna come off the tripod. So it's gonna be shaky, sorry. Okay, let me get a better exposure going here. There we go. So for the trinkets on Demetrios, he wanted more stuff. So went to Hobby Lobby, and it's really easy to go overboard there. I spent a lot of money on trinkets. So the first thing I did like a grouping of rosary beads, and I did 3. So I found these antique crosses, and I made these each chain individually, you know, separate, to give each one a separate kind of look and feel. And then these are all put on with these little magnetic jewelry clips. So these can come off. If he wants to switch these around on the belt, he could. I mean, if he's one of those guys that likes to switch things up. So those look really nice. I couldn't find a rabbit's foot, but I found a rabbit's head. So I got that right there. So I got a rabbit's head. Next best thing to a rabbit's foot is a rabbit's head. And then for the little bottles in the back, you want something in them. So we, like I said, I did it's actually talc powder and then some epoxy in that one. And then I just put a little knot of leather on the back of the belt of the gun and just kind of weathered it up and made it look torn and tattered. Let's see, on this side, we got some horseshoe. It's gonna keep messing with my exposure because everything's black. It does that. It wants to overexpose. So we got the horseshoe with some beads. And then the last extra trinkets we did was just a bunch of a bunch of keys, and those are all chained together down there hanging. There's like, I think 5 or 6 keys hanging there. So that's the main difference on Demetrios' Hellboy. But there they are, 3 at one time. I can't believe I got them all done, and couldn't be happier. I'm going to come in on the eyes a little bit, see if I can't show you those, because I'm real happy with how those turned out. So give me a second. And I'll just show you one because you can get the idea. Okay, so right there. So on the eyes, I did like a deeper yellow for those. And then I did amber eyeballs. And I did a black eyeliner. The first one I did a red eyeliner, but the black really helps them stand out. So yeah, really, really happy with the results. So there they are. Thanks for everyone who followed along on this long build. They're looking really shiny there, but they're not. And stay tuned for the next project. So as always, thanks for watching. It's Matt Mrozik. Catch you guys next time. Bye.